Hello, my name is Stephen Johnson, and I am part of Itron's Partner Enablement team. In the first video in this series, I introduced the Starfish development platform. In this video, I will cover several technical skills needed to manage your account, devices, and data using tools available on the developer portal. Let's get started. In this video, we'll cover the following technical skills. First, generating a new client ID and secret associated with your account. Second, we'll use Starfish Studio to invoke as a user interface the Starfish Developer Platform APIs. I'll show you some tips for authorization token management that are used to authenticate you to the Starfish Development Platform APIs. And finally, I'll use the curl utility to show how you can invoke these APIs independent of Starfish Studio on your own command line. To generate a client ID and secret, I'm going to navigate to My Account in the developer portal. And here you can see a tab called Account Settings. I'll click on Account Settings, and you see here that Profile Info is selected. I want to select Client ID and Secret. And here I can click the red button to create a new client ID and secret. I'm not actually going to do that because when you create a new client ID and secret, your old one that was originally generated to be associated with your account is no longer valid. So if you ever lose your client ID and secret, you can generate a new one here and then record that on your local machine in a safe place. For security purposes, Itron does not store your client ID and secret on the developer portal, so you need to store that in a place where you can retrieve it later. Now I'm going to navigate to Starfish Studio. I click Developer Resources, Starfish Studio, and then click the Launch Starfish Studio button. Once Starfish Studio loads, I'm going to navigate over to the right-hand tab, View APIs. This shows me a graphical user interface hosted in my web browser that gives me access to various functions of the Starfish development platform, including generating a new authorization token, getting information or adding information about my devices, registering a webhook for the data that my devices publish, to push that to another HTTP service using a RESTful interface, and observations. Observations are the data associated with your IoT devices. The first thing I can do is, because I am currently logged on with my account, I can show an authorization token, and that's going to generate an authorization token based on my client ID and secret. Now recall a minute ago I said that the developer portal itself does not store any information about your client ID and secret. So how does it generate this authorization token? Well, the way it does that is our authorization token service does actually have an associated client ID and secret, but that is not stored anywhere in the Itron domain. So that the cached credentials are actually used to generate this authorization token based on what user you're currently logged on to the developer portal as. If I copy that authorization token, I can now use that as a parameter to any of these Starfish Studio APIs. For example, I can get all the devices of the type Millie by entering the default solution name of Sandbox, copying the authorization token that I copied from up here, and then entering the device type equals Millie. Once I do that, I can hit the Try It Out button, and this shows me the output below of all my Millie devices associated with this account. Now, if I don't want to use this authorization token, I can generate another authorization token from a separate client ID and secret using this authorization post API. The reason I might want to do that is because I may be currently logged onto the developer portal under my development account that I created to manage all my Millie HDKs and devices that I'm using to develop a solution. I may have a separate account that I use for a separate set of devices that are deployed in, for example, a field trial. So if I'm logged into the developer portal on my developer account, and I want information about my field trial devices, then I'll have to generate a new authorization token with my field trial account client ID and secret. And so we can do that by clicking on the post and then clicking on the example value here, which will populate the body with the JSON indicating the client ID and secret. And if I actually copy in a client ID and secret here, I can click try it out and generate the new authorization token. So I'll copy in the client ID from a separate account, and then I'll copy in the client secret from another account and click try it out. And here the output shows me my new access token, which I can use to invoke other APIs and authenticate using my separate field trial account, even though I'm currently logged in using my developer account. The final tech skill I want to show involves using the curl command on the command line as an alternative to Starfish Studio to invoke APIs supported by the Starfish developer platform. If you recall earlier, I used a get operation on devices to retrieve information about all my devices. This shows the results of running that in Starfish Studio, but what I want to do this time is I want to point out the curl command here that shows what this looks like when you actually use curl as a utility to invoke the same command using the JSON format and the authorization token that we used earlier. So what I want to do is open up a terminal, and then I want to paste that command. And you see here most of that is the authorization token. And then you see at the end the actual URL that I'm of the API that I'm invoking with that authorization token. And down here, you see a list, again in JSON format, of the devices. In this case, I only have 1 milli associated with my developer account. And this shows all the same information that we saw here in Starfish Studio, just using the command line. So this is an example of how you can invoke the Starfish developer platform APIs externally using a tool like curl.